Good evening and welcome to the Morrison County Board of Adjustment public hearing for August 19th, 2025. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I do have a few items to cover before we get started. Please sign in at the door if you've not already done so. There you will also find a detailed handout of the step-by-step procedure we will follow tonight if you wish to take one. Please put any electronic devices on a silent mode at this time. Also, please note that all testimony is being recorded for the record. Members of the Board of Adjustment are appointed by the County Board of Commissioners with one member from each of the 5 commissioner districts. Land Services staff is here to assist the Board of Adjustments with its duties. The task of the board is to consider requests for variances and appeals from an order, requirement, or decision made by a county zoning official in accordance with the state law and county ordinance. Each request is considered on its own merit. The burden of proving a practical difficulty rests with the applicant. If a variance is granted, it is granted to the land, not to the landowner. There's a protocol for how we will proceed tonight. For each variance request on the agenda, we will hear a staff report, hear testimony from the applicants, and then the board will discuss and gather more information as needed. Next, I'll ask if there's anyone in the audience wishing to speak to the request. I'll ask each party to go to the podium, state your name and address for the record, and give their testimony. Please be as factual as possible and direct all statements and questions to me. After all testimony is complete, I will close the public hearing portion of the process. The board will then review and discuss the case in terms of finding of fact criteria as required by Minnesota statute and county ordinance. We'll have a series of votes, discuss whether conditions be made, and have a final motion to approve or deny the request based on those findings. After this final vote on your request, you may leave if you wish. And our first agenda item today is Thomas and Carol Cross, 34476 Aztec Road, Motley, Minnesota. Application for an after-the-fact variance to continue a retaining wall visible from the lake. Please come up to the front and can you state your name and address into the microphone for the record?
Thomas Cross, 34476 Aztec Road.
Thank you, sir. And we'll kick it off right away. Ms. Amy with the staff report.
Yes, Mr. Chair, again, this is an after-the-fact request to continue a retaining wall visible from the lake with no demonstrated erosion. The ordinance section for this is 710.41, and that talks about minor topographic alterations, items H and J. Here's an aerial photograph of the property outlined in blue. And then here's some oblique imagery of the property. And then a photo of the property from 2018, and then again in 2024. And then here's the survey that was submitted by the applicant. And then here are some site photographs that were taken at the viewing on the 15th. The 528 square foot dwelling was built in 1954 and is over 75 feet from the lake. In June 2024, the Land Services Department received a complaint that tiered retaining walls had been installed in front of the dwelling and no permitting was on file. Upon review of imagery of the property, it was determined that a variance would be needed to keep the retaining walls as they are visible from the lake and no erosion was observed in past site photos. The applicant requests an after-the-fact variance to keep the existing tiered retaining wall. If this request is approved, Land Services, Soil and Water Conservation District, and the DNR recommend a condition that the retaining walls be screened with vegetation from the lake as determined by the Shoreland Specialist and Soil and Water Conservation District. And then here are criteria questions, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Ms. Amy.
I'm sorry, one more thing. I did receive two comments that were called in. Both expressed support for the request and didn't have any issue with the request. And that is all. Now I'm done.
Okay, thank you. Anything to add or adjust based on the report?
The one picture that showed down the hill, that was on Lot 4. I have Lot 3 and 4. Lot 3, the main building is on, well, the only building is on, which was constructed many years ago. The DePark family decided that they were going to sell the remaining of their property, so we knew that the property line, this property had never been formally surveyed. But we knew the property line had to be extremely close to the original building, which on the survey shows that it cuts through the deck. So I think it was about 1970, 5 or 6 years after my dad died, that the land was going to be sold, that we asked to acquire the next lot over, which would be Lot 4, which we did. That, what you call the picture, had been, that slope had been that way for many, many years. In my memory, my dad used to take care of the property. It was an older man who owned the property, and he took care of all of it. And that was the only access that they had to go down to the lake. And it was only used to put in boats and take out boats and stuff like that. So that isn't anything that I did. It was there, it's been there forever. Well, not forever, but many, many years. I'm 80, and my memory goes back to when I was about 7 or 8. And it was there then. I've been around that. The vegetation on the retaining wall itself, the intent was to have the vegetation installed to be of native grasses and plants. The 3 that it showed that are under the windows, I planted those probably 10 years ago. They did not thrive. They did not thrive until we put the retaining wall in, which would keep the moisture and et cetera in. The wall was put up because the slope became very, very steep, very close to the building, and it was affecting the building structure itself. You could see on the other pictures that they didn't take an inside shot, but the porch portion is actually inside is below ground level. This is a cement block building, very heavy old blocks, thicker than they use today. And I had it, it was cracking in places, so I had it stuccoed this spring. That's why you can't see any of that. I did send some pictures that you didn't use that showed the cracks in the foundations.
Mr. Chair, if I may interrupt, they were included in their packet, so they did receive those pictures.
they're
They're
just
just
not-
not a part of this PowerPoint presentation.
Okay.
So they did see them and they did get them.
Okay. Well, anyway, the intent was to have the vegetation put in, but when we received this complaint and this need for apply for a permit, which I didn't know we needed to have, and the person who put it in did not tell me we needed a permit, and I knew that this person had done like retaining walls around this lake and other lakes in Morrison County and other counties in Minnesota. That's it, unless you have questions, specific
Okay.
questions for me.
Thank you, sir. I'm going to open up to the board for the review of the application, questions, comments for consideration to the applicant or Amy.
Mr. Chair,
Brent?
just a couple of questions for Mr. Cross. This structure, we were all out there on Friday and took a view of that, and you showed us around the property, and thank you for that. I was curious, is that all a slab on grade, or you talked about some blocks that are around there? Has that got an actual footing going around all the way before the
It's a
slab?
footing, it is not a slab. The foundation is not a slab,
Okay, so there is a foundation all the way around the perimeter?
yes.
Okay. I did see something in there that this was a log building at one time, or,
The original cabin, this is an odd size lot and an odd shaped lot. It was, the cabin, my parents tore down an old log cabin and built in exactly the same place. And they used the porch, the original porch floor was from the original log cabin porch.
okay. All right,
The
that makes,
porch was not enclosed when the building was built. The roof was over the porch, but it was not enclosed.
okay.
'Cause somebody had asked about the flat roof.
Yeah, in reference to the flat roof, at one point, I think in the packet, you indicated, or I saw mention that the roof, because of the settling of the structure, had started to bring rainwater to or maybe it was in our viewing on Friday.
It was in the viewing.
Yeah, bring rainwater off
Now
the
it
front.
goes to the back.
And, yeah, and now the roof line has been changed, so the water flows out the back towards the road?
Correct.
Okay. Thank you for that clarification.
Thank you, Brent.
Mr. Chair,
Marv?
as we were out there Friday, we had obviously a nice visit, and, you know, that is some real sugar sand. There's no question about it. You want it on the beaches, but when you talked about erosion, we had, Darren was there, he did take some pictures that we showed here, or Amy put on the PowerPoint. You can see with very minimum traffic, you have erosion there. Definitely had erosion. If I remember hearing you correctly, he says every few years you would bring in dirt to be around the cabin and the road wash away.
In the front of the cabin, yes, yes.
And here, as you know, you meet with the cabin to show setbacks, the 75-foot setbacks, and you're out of the 50-foot shore impact zone, which we like to see, but you know, obviously part of the rock barrier is in shoreline area there, that doesn't meet the 75-foot setback. But, you know, I honestly believe that you thought you were doing the right thing without the permits and everything else, and putting this up versus keep on hauling in dirt is probably a better alternative, but, you know, without the permits and all, and we have a shoreline specialist to talk to over doing that. That's why we're here. But with that being said, nice pictures of your foundation showing has changed. Obviously, with the roof, you could see the pitch changing. You're trying to do things to prevent this from getting worse and preserve that cabin. And it was well done on the outside with stucco and everything else, what I've observed. But thanks for doing that.
When we put the base rocks in, we knew that we couldn't, when the deck was built, we knew how far that was permitted for the bottom stair. And we kept the rock back so that it would not protrude out farther than the bottom stair.
Mr. Chair?
Brent?
Yeah, on that note, it looks like on one side it's 69 feet, and on the other side 67 feet from the lake. So very close, obviously.
Yeah, I don't think that's not the issue that like the impact of the shoreline, right? That's,
Mr. Chair?
Yeah.
The setback of the wall is not
yeah.
the issue.
Mr. Chair?
Clinton?
So Amy, can you tell us what year that this ordinance went in effect and then the reasoning for it? You know, the reasoning for this ordinance is aesthetic or what?
So we've had standards for retaining walls for as long as I can remember. And then we had an update to that ordinance in 2021. And we've always had the standard that retaining walls are only allowed when there is a demonstrated erosion issue that cannot be addressed any other way. So that has always been the standard. And then in 2021, when we updated pretty much the whole shoreland section, then we actually relaxed that for retaining walls that are not visible from the lake. And so we were a little more liberal with that, but kept everything that's visible from the lake, that it must be addressed in some other way if possible, and that's where that evaluation comes in and that demonstration of that you don't have another option.
Okay. So then if he would have come in before doing this, and then he would still apply for a variance?
Not
Or
necessarily.
it could get worked through with the shoreline specialist?
Yes, so
Okay.
if he had had the shoreline specialist out and he could see that there was a demonstrated erosion issue that couldn't be addressed any other way, that was undermining the building, we would have permitted it.
Yep. Okay.
So so all we have to go on
Yep.
after the fact is the photos that we have available to us.
Yeah, okay. So that's where I'm trying to get what a point here. So, Mr. Cross, so with this being done after the fact, you know, you said you didn't know you needed a permit or any of that. Okay, you know, I believe you. We seen some erosion there, but we don't know if that's enough to constitute doing this, you know, because this is already built and we can't see that. So that's what we got to go through and decide if this is going to be detrimental to the county or the lake or whatever. But I think one thing that there was a recommendation, I believe, in here from the shoreline specialist was to help mitigate people seeing this structure is putting vegetation in front of that. If we
Well,
would,
that was the original intent.
okay, you just stopped because of the complaint or,
Correct.
okay. So if we put a condition that you'd have to work with the shoreline specialist to put some kind of vegetation there to help cover that, or so you can't see it as easy,
That's no
you'd be fine
problem,
with that? Okay,
Because that was the original intent to do it.
okay. Okay, I think that's all I have at this time, Mr. Chair.
Okay.
Mr. Chair?
Brent?
Just one other comment here. You know, we look at a lot of different lakeshore around the county, and most often, we're dealing with the shore impact zone and we're dealing within the first 75 feet. This is a unique property here where you've got 60-plus feet of sand to the water's edge before you get to this point. And there is nothing in front of that wall now from the lakeside looking back that you see just the rock wall there. Correct. And I think that's the purpose of trying to bring some sort of vegetation in there so it isn't just a solid rock wall that you're looking at from the lakeside.
Now, your picture from 2018, the lake was pretty high then. So there was not the umpteen feet distance from the water.
Sure.
Where the water is now, it is still probably There'd probably be 4 or 5 feet more to an ordinary high water mark.
Yeah. I have another question for Amy. We're trying to address this as an after the fact, and I'm trying to wrap my head around what might that buffer that's discussed or that we might condition, what might that look like?
Well, the thought is, or the original thought, when Mr. Cross had attended the development review team meeting, the area hydrologist, the soil and water, and the shoreland specialist all had talked about plantings interspersed in that rock. So there'd be like plugs that would go in that rock that would actually, not just a row of bushes or something in front, that it would, the plantings would be interspersed in that rock, then that would green that up a little bit. So that is what I think the first blush thought would be, and I think that we certainly would be working with the property owner on what plants they like, what would do well there, and then what would achieve what we're looking for there is to provide the screening.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chair?
Marv?
So with that being said, how would we word that condition that would, as per, what is it? I wouldn't say shoreline specialists do as recommended with plantings?
Mr. Chair, I had some language
Yeah, it was right at the beginning.
at the beginning. Let me see. Was it at the, did I miss that again? Let's see. I had it written down, I thought I had it in here.
So if this were approved,
Oh, here.
oh, there you go.
If the request is approved, land services, blah, 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 retaining walls be screened with vegetation from the lake as determined by the shoreline specialist and soil and water conservation district. Unless you feel there needs to be more language than that, I would suggest that.
Mr. Chair, I recommend that would be a condition put that way.
Okay, that will be a condition.
No problem.
So, Miss Amy, when we look at this after the facts, we always look at this as if we were to approve it, just like it would go through the process or this variance process in general, correct?
So, Mr. Chair, when you're looking at, when you have after the fact, you have two things. You have the kind of the original questions, and you consider those, you kind of scrub the fact that you're dealing with it after the fact out, and you answer those questions based on the criteria and the request. If you answer all of those in the yes, and you feel that the after the fact criteria provides some extenuating circumstances, then you have the option to apply the after the fact criteria, and that's where you weigh in balance kind of why we're dealing with it on the back end, the circumstances under what happened and how we got here. And so, yes, so on the first end, you're really just looking at it on its face, and not the fact that it's an after the fact doesn't really enter into that.
Thank you. Anything else from the board members? Okay, I'm going to open this up, section of the meeting open to the public for public comment. If you have anything you wish to say, please go to the podium, state your name and address for the record, and your facts. I got to ask 3 times. Any public comment? Any public comment? Any public comment? Okay, we will close this section of the meeting to the public, and we will continue on with the finding of fact criteria questions. And before we do that, board members, any comments? We're all familiar with the condition. If it goes that way, or as we're considering the questions?
Yes.
Okay. Question 1, is the request in harmony with the general purposes and intent of the Morrison County Land Use Ordinance and Comprehensive Plan? I will take that one. The fact that we have a condition that did come forward that would be considered with the application in general from the outset from the shoreline specialist states it can be, and that's one way to get there. So with that condition, the request is in harmony with the general purposes and intent of the Morrison County Land Use Ordinance and Comprehensive Plan. Anybody else? Okay, question 2. Is the applicant proposing to use the property in a reasonable manner not permitted by land use ordinance? Marv?
I believe he is. I think his heart was in the right way as here he wanted, it's a very steep bank. As we notice, it's very sandy soil, which is highly erodible. And as he stated numerous times, he's hauled in dirt and he wanted to come up with a better way of stabilizing it. And he didn't realize he had to have a permit for doing this. So I believe he is. And then with the condition having our shoreline specialists overlook it, I believe it is in a very reasonable manner.
Thank you, Marv. Clint or Brent?
No.
Question 3, will the issuance of the variance maintain the essential character of the locality? Brent?
Well, this is a lake, and it's a lake home, facing the water. There's many homes around the lake that are similar. The setback is similar. The shoreline is similar. There are other homes around the lake that prior to 2020 had rock retaining walls and or boulders placed or put in either under permit then or just existing. With the condition put on this one, if there is a way to further stabilize that soil, which I think is Mr. Cross's intent, and to put some greenery in there as well, I think it will maintain the essential character of that lakeshore and that locality.
Thank you, Brent. Clint or Marv? Question 4, is the alleged practical difficulty due to circumstances unique to the property? Clint?
Yes, visiting with the applicant on Friday at the site visit, we got a lot of detail on what he was looking at and why, with the house kind of moving and breaking away, and he actually showed us that on the site visit. We went into the inside where that porch was, where the old cement is and the new cement, and then how the house cracked, and he showed them pictures, and it's in our packet, and then so it did show that it moved, and then being there on the site visit, you could see that he kept everything pretty much grassed as much as he could wherever it would grow, and even up on top where it's flat, you could see that it's so sandy that a lot of that grass was kind of eroded away on the flat. It's nice to see that the applicant actually leaves some. There's 2 or 3 spots, I think 3, on that property that he left complete natural, hasn't been touched in the 70 years that they've had it. So that was nice to see. So I think the practical difficulty here, and also reading through the applicant, he answered in the after the fact one. I got more of it out of that than I did the actual first part of it. But he didn't know that he needed a permit for this. It's still a landowner's responsibility to know them things. I know how it can slip out. His actual residence is in Texas, so he's in 2 states, and to know different rules, you should check on that stuff a little bit. But I think the practical difficulty here was just to save and hold that bank in from erosion, save the cabin, oversight with not checking for the permits and them type of things. So I do think erosion is a problem on this. We're only speculating if the erosion's bad enough to allow this or not. That's where we're at now because it's already put there. But definitely from my eyes and the rest of the board have seen, they could speak differently. There would be some erosion problems there, and he actually demonstrated to us where the foundation was having some problems.
Thank you, Clint. Brent or Marv?
Nothing further.
Okay. Question 5 is the need for the variance created by actions other than the landowner or prior landowners. That one comes back to me. The wall had to go in, or what you looked at doing, because of Mother Nature. That is how that happened. But you're sitting here today for this variance because somebody did file a complaint. So we're going through and doing our due diligence on the questions on your property and on the area, but those two things are not you or the previous landowner. Okay, question 6, does the alleged practical difficulty involve more than just economic considerations? Marv?
I believe it does. I looked at it as he said financially it was $6,000 just to put up what he did. But I mean, here he looked at, he was going to put some grass in there, and as we put into a condition that he would put some greenish. So he looked at other ways possibly of stabilizing this in the years past, and it didn't work. So there were other items that were looked into just rather than just economics.
Thank you, Marv. Brent or Clint?
Nothing further.
Okay, we're going through the vote on these questions now, the yes or no's, with the condition that moving ahead, the shoreline specialist will have guidance and insight for Mr. Cross here. So please, in your votes, consider that condition. Question 1, is the request in harmony with the general purposes and intent of the Morrison County Land Use Ordinance and Comprehensive Plan? I, John, is yes. Marv?
Yes.
Brent?
Yes.
Clint?
Yes, with the condition.
Question 2, is the applicant proposing to use the property in a reasonable manner not permitted by the land use ordinance? Marv?
Yes.
Brent?
Yes.
Clint?
Yes, with the condition.
I, John, is yes. Question 3, will the issuance of the variance maintain the essential character of the locality? Brent?
Yes, with the condition.
Clint?
Yes, with the condition.
I, John, is yes. Marv?
Yes, with the conditions.
Question 4, is the alleged practical difficulty due to circumstances unique to the property? Clint?
Yes.
I, John, is yes. Marv?
Yes.
Brent?
Yes.
Question 5, is the need for the variance created by actions other than the landowner or prior landowners? I, John, is yes. Marv?
Yes.
Brent?
Yes.
Clint?
Yes.
Question 6, does the alleged practical difficulty involve more than just economic considerations? Marv?
Yes.
Brent?
Yes.
Clint?
Yes.
John is yes. So at this time, we do have all 6 questions answered to the affirmative with yeses on every single vote for every single question. So I'm going to leave it up to this board to vote on whether or not we go through the after-the-fact variance additional questions for consideration. Just a yes or no we'll do on this. Brent?
Yes or no? So, yes.
To go through the additional
yes
questions.
to go through them, or no to go through them?
Yes to go through them, no to skip them.
No to skip them.
Marv?
No.
Clint?
No. No.
John is no. So we have 4 board members that have voted to skip the additional conditional questions. Miss Amy, is there anything formally for this meeting that I need to do in addition to that?
No, Mr. Chair, just take your vote on the first 6.
Okay, perfect. Do I, hey, everybody in favor of the application, say aye. Brent?
Aye.
Marv?
Aye.
Clint?
Mr. Chair,
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion
Oh,
that
sorry.
we approve this with the condition.
I will second that.
Made by Clint, seconded by Marv. I did that a little out of order, but we're getting there. To approve the requested variance, all in favor say aye. Brent?
Aye.
Marv?
Aye.
Clint?
Aye.
Aye, John is aye. Your application or your requested for variance is approved. Thank you. Work with land staffs and then the shoreline specialist with the requirements that you need to do moving forward. Thank you.
And anything you do at the county, or anything you do at that cabin, check with the county first. Okay?
Usually the contractor knows. Obviously, the contractor didn't.
Yeah. There you go. And we are going to be waiting for Marv to return, but in the meantime, the second agenda item here is Darren and Sherry Holst, 34524 Aztec Road, Motley, Minnesota. Variance to construct a non-conforming home and garage. Come on up to the table here. Won't make you wait back there.
Okay, I'm Darren Holst, and my residence is 34524 Aztec Road.
Thank you, sir. Marv is back, so Miss Amy with the staff report.
Yes, Mr. Chair. This is a variance request to construct a dwelling and attached garage within the setback to the road right-of-way and the property line. The ordinance sections that pertain to this is 706.1 B, and that requires a 40-foot setback from the right-of-way of a county road, and then also a 10-foot side yard setback. Here's an aerial photograph of the property outlined in blue. And then here's some oblique imagery. And then here is a view from the lake. And here's the survey provided by the applicant with the right-of-way highlighted, the setback from the right-of-way, the lake setback, and the building envelope. Here are some site photographs taken at the viewing on the 15th. So this dwelling was built in 1978. It's 960 square feet with a full basement, and it does meet the setback from the lake. It is about 1 foot from the road right-of-way and about 2 feet from the north property line. The applicant plans to tear down the existing home and requests a variance to construct a new home with an attached garage, 1 foot from the road right-of-way and 2 feet 9 inches from the north property line. And the setback from the lake would continue to be met. The dwelling's use will change from seasonal to full-time year-round. A septic holding tank serves the existing dwelling and will continue to serve the newly built dwelling. There isn't adequate room on the property to accommodate a full treating septic system. The structure must meet the floodplain elevation requirements, which require elevating the basement floor about 2 feet. It will be a walkout design. The applicant seeks alternative floodproofing rather than elevating on fill because there isn't room between the home and the road to accommodate the required fill. This alternative floodproofing will require a conditional use permit. The county engineer attended the development review team meeting and commented that he has no issue with the structure in its current location. Still, he would not support further encroachment on the road. And then here are criteria questions, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Miss Amy. Anything to add, comment on the staff report?
No, I think everything's correct. Good.
Thank you. So, Miss Amy, can you run back to that last section there about the county engineer? So, he would not support further encroachment on the road in the way this is being proposed. It's not actually further encroaching on the road?
Correct, and there's not much room. He's only a foot from the road right-of-way, and he's not supportive of him being 6 inches from the road right-of-way.
Gotcha.
So he just doesn't want it any closer than it is right now.
Good with that?
Yes.
Okay. Just so we're all on the same page moving forward here.
Yep.
All right, board members, any additional questions, comments?
Mr. Chair?
Clint?
Okay, so Amy, if he wasn't building the garage and just redoing the house, even though he's 2.6 feet away from the property line, he'd have the right to do that, right?
He would have a right to replace what he had. However, he would still need to meet those federal floodplain
Yep.
elevations, so he'd still need to come up. But yes, he would have the right to tear that down and replace.
Okay, yep, that's what I figured. Okay. So then we were out there on a site visit on Friday, and we looked at that, and what you're proposing, yeah, we could see that you weren't gonna go any farther than what the house was. We were looking at, when we were out there, we did some discussion about, the impervious surface, and I think you're right below the threshold right now,
Mr. Chair,
maybe?
he's right at it. I believe he's actually over, but wanted us to tell you that he was going to get it to 25%.
Yeah.
That's where I was getting at. We talked that you're gonna take out some of the concrete in front of the deck.
Yep, that's not gonna be put back.
And then some of that gravel or asphalt or whatever that's in the driveway kind of to the left, if you're looking at the road, was gonna come out, some of that.
Both directions.
Yeah, okay, both
Yep.
directions, yep. So I just wanted to comment on that, I think by putting a garage there, there's already impervious surface where our garage is going, and there's a couple feet where there isn't, but you're willing to take out other impervious surface to match that.
Right.
Okay. I think that's all I had right now, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair?
Marv?
So we talked about this earlier. If we're to approve this variance, we would have a stormwater plan submitted, and one that would be approved by Land Services. I recommend that we have that condition. How do you feel about that?
No, that's fine. I think I mentioned you guys, and I'm gonna have this architectural designed, and he will do a stormwater plan with it. But I mean, the way I'm gonna pitch these roofs, and with the amount of grass and stuff I have, I'm not sending anything into this lake anyways. I mean,
As we all know, Shamana has been it costs this county a lot, but, getting it in the right direction.
Yeah.
And anything we can do to mitigate further problems, I think it's important. And when you submit something to, Land Services, they approve of it. I believe that would be a win-win for both of us.
okay.
Mr. Chair, I just have one comment. You're only 5-6 houses down from our last applicant, and on our drive from his place to your place, you got probably the most grass on that road. So that was nice to see, a deep lot from, you meet setback from the water, to have grass all the way, that was pretty nice. So we just wanted to make sure that we can keep that, so.
Correct, and I do too.
Just one question for the applicant here. So with the holding tank, it was noted in here that it can be replaced easily. So if you go to a full-time year-round use with this from seasonal, do you know how often you're planning to pump that?
Well, as of now, we've been full-time there for 2 months right now, and I've pumped it once.
Okay.
And that tank, I believe, is smaller than the one I plan to put in.
Okay.
So, I don't think I'm.
So you will be putting a different tank
Yeah,
in?
yeah, we're
Okay.
putting a brand new one in.
Okay.
Yep. This one's, the one that's there is in kind of the building area, so it has to be. And I don't think it would pass again anyways.
Okay.
The
Got
guy, Phil, the excavator, he did look at it before and it passed when I first bought this, but it was old then, so
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it won't pass.
Gotcha. Okay.
So I plan on putting a brand new one in, yes.
Thank you.
Question for Amy. So when we were out at the site visit on Friday, this is, obviously, he has a right to tear down and rebuild. He's going to raise it up to meet the flood plain there. But the idea is to attach this garage structure that we're looking at here to the existing home, but not to the boathouse.
Correct.
So is that known, or was it thought that that would be separate?
Mr. Chair, when he came in for his development review team meeting, there was a few different ideas. The floodplain, he originally was going to, wanted to put an addition onto the existing home with a garage, but because that was considered a substantial improvement, the floodplain regulations would kick in and he would need to elevate the whole thing. So then the decision was made, then our understanding was that he was going to do a detached garage. And then when the application came in, it was tearing down the whole thing and doing a new home and garage all attached. So it has evolved.
Okay, because to me, it just seems like we're kind of putting the cart before the horse here, like we're dealing with a garage, but yet we're dealing with the structure, and obviously they're two different, but yet they're going to be connected, and so I look at it as a non-conforming and adding to a non-conforming with an attached garage, so that's my struggle for the board.
However, with the removal of, if that house was stood, because originally I think he was gonna remodel it
Correct.
and add on to it. Now, he's wiping that slate clean, he's removing that whole thing, and what he's not replacing, I mean, he's building a bigger structure. So I'm framing it as construct a new structure with that because essentially he's not using his replacement right, so to speak, because he's not working with the existing house and he's not expanding that existing house. So that's why I framed it that way. Because
Yeah,
when
I'm
you
just trying to wrap my
No,
head
I
around it, because
understand.
it's a little unique the way this one's presented, so it's
Typically, if-
challenging for sure.
Yeah, typically if someone has got a non-conforming structure and they're tearing the whole thing down, and essentially starting new, that's how I put it in front of you is that ask is for whatever it is they're asking, rather than the replacement right, because it's something different. It's bigger, it's not a replacement, essentially.
Yeah.
But
Thank you.
on that note, so the part that he is replacing, though, because it is getting bigger, that's where the federal or state regulations kick in for,
If he were to
flood.
put an addition onto this, there are certain rights in federal law as far as when you must, so this, right now, this home does not meet the elevation, the regulatory floodplain elevation, and it can stay exactly the way it is, as long as that's there. If he does anything that's considered, and there's a definition for it, substantial improvement, then not only do you need to elevate the new part, but you've got to elevate the rest of it. And with what he was proposing, it was gonna bring that entire thing into that. So he was gonna have to elevate it, if that garage was attached. So that's why we thought the application was going to be just for a detached garage within setback, but,
Because you had said that if I attach it, then we could only do 50%. I could only redo the house at a 50% value to it. So if the value of that, they determined it was 350,000, I could do up to that and still leave it. That was what they
yeah.
told me.
And that's like even an internal, it's anything you do to that structure. So if he was gonna completely gut it, and that's over the lifetime of the property, not just this one project. And so it was a decision he needed to make as far as the long-term use of the home.
Correct, but by attaching it and then redoing this cabin, I feel like I'm bringing everything up to, I'm actually gonna be above flood stage, which I would think if you want a cabin on Shamina, you wanna be above flood stage.
You must be.
Well, correct.
If you're
But
building
that'd
new.
be the idea to do. I mean, I leave it the way it is. I mean, I'm sitting below flood stage at all times. So I think by what I'm doing, I'm trying to make it better so it's there longer.
Does that answer your questions?
Clear as mud.
Yeah. Marv, good?
I'm, as Brent has stated, there's
Okay.
a lot of things here, just trying to wrap it around, but yeah.
Clint?
So just one thing I want to look at here, if I did my math right. So we look at this building envelope that he had. So he has 30,000 square foot, so just something to think about for the uniqueness of this property. It's 30,000 square foot lot. There's 1,115 foot buildable square foot building envelope. He's proposing to do like 1,248, so 1,250. That's 4% of the lot. So if you actually look at 1155, that gives him about 3.75% of a lot that he can build on because of the setback. So I just thought that was I was like, boy, this ain't real big, but it's like, it's hard to fit it in there. When you look at it that way, I don't know. So I just wanted to bring that up, that's all.
Mr. Chair?
Thank you, Clint. Brett?
Yeah, I think, because of the zero setback to the road and the way these structures all along there were built many years ago, maybe in the 50s and 60s and 70s, everything was placed kind of towards the road. And as you look at the screenshot that's here in front of you, the building envelope that's there would not support any new construction of today's building. But what you're proposing is to pretty much keep it back where it is in that zero, setback to the road or the 2 feet that exists now, and really not encroach even into the building envelope, right?
Correct.
Yeah. And yet, you're still going to be a significant way away from the lake because, again, here, that whole sandy beach is got, everything pushed back 75 feet before you even start. So in that regard, it makes it a little more palatable to me with what you're proposing, but it is a very unique lot and situation here, not a common one that we would see elsewhere.
Yeah.
Mr. Chair? I think that what you see here too is a testament to the amount of bounce Shamina has, because just a few years ago, that water was probably almost licking his front door, and so that just tell you how much swing that lake has. And so it doesn't surprise me that way back, those homes that were on that lakeside were placed by the road like that, because that was probably known back then, because that's been the dynamic of Shamina, since the dawn of time.
And just one further follow-up question to the applicant here. So the plan is to actually remove that concrete out front towards the lakeside that's kind of wet and moist there that we saw on Friday. The basement that's there now, is that going to stay as a footing, or that's going to?
It's all coming out.
So everything's going to come out. It's going to be all new construction
Yep.
coming up to meet the new standard.
Yeah, raised 2 feet, 2 inches.
And that, that just eases things for me, I guess, at that point, looking at this lot, to have something that is meeting the today's standard for the longevity and the long outlook of this unique piece of land.
Mr. Chair,
Marv?
as we were all out there, and you definitely can see that a basement is lower than the sand out there. You can see where something needs to be done with that, and which is good to see that you are off out of the shore impact zone, very sandy soil, obviously, and, you know, it looks like the lot was well kept there. So I see where this mitigates, you know, trying to do something in here, even though it's not the building envelope. Plus, when you have the county engineer okay with rebuilding where you're at, I think that helps pull this in your direction.
Thank you, Marv.
Mr. Chair, one more thing for Darren. So Amy mentioned that you are gonna get to the 25% or below on impervious surface. So you're fine if we condition that?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Yep.
So I would recommend that we put a condition on that he meets his 25% or less.
Mr. Chair?
Brett?
I had written down 3 conditions. I'll just read them off and make sure that everybody is understanding these. One condition would be no further encroachment towards the road right away than what currently exists. Second condition would be the removal of the asphalt and concrete front and back on the concrete to meet impervious surface, which I think you said that you would. And then 3 was the recommendations of the shoreline specialist moving forward.
Good with all those?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
When you say the shoreline specialist, you mean like the stormwater plan, yeah, okay,
Yes, Mr. Chair.
got it, thank you. Applicant's good with that, you guys are good with that. We'll take public comment now. I'm gonna ask 3 times, any public comment, please go up to the podium there, state your name and address for the record and your facts. Give it a try. Heads up.
What size are those?
Technical issues. Technical issues.
Yeah, always.
That was pretty neat.
You can just hold it up.
Yeah, you can just hold it.
My name is Carl Lair. My residence is 34519 Aztec Road. My parents' residence is 34521, so we're across the street. A couple of questions. Is the lake level considered what it is now, or is it the high water mark?
We'll answer those as soon as you're done with your public comment. Yep.
Okay. Another question is, with the basement being raised 2 feet, is the structure still single story with a walkout? Will the roof be a different pitch? Because it wouldn't take a lot for the new structure and the new garage to really cut into my parents' view of the lake and my view of the lake. So how high can he legally go?
Is that all your questions?
Yes.
Okay. So I want to clarify what you're asking about the ordinary high water mark. So, where, are you asking where we're measuring from or what we're using? Okay.
Yes.
So we're measuring from the ordinary high water mark, which is an elevation that is set by the DNR. So even though the water might be high one year and low, it's that we're measuring from that fixed ordinary high water mark, not where the lake happens to be on any given day.
Okay.
So we are using that fixed setback. As far as for the floodplain elevation, the lowest floor must be 2 feet above. That's called the regulatory floodplain elevation. So the lowest floor must be that 2 feet. So my understanding is you are not proposing a basement?
Well, correct. I mean, no, there'll be a basement, but it'll be higher up now, 2 feet, 2 inches up.
The lowest, so your lowest floor?
Yeah,
So then that speaks to what will the overall height of the home be then if you're doing a basement and then a story?
correct, just like it is now, but basically
But the basement will be above grade.
2 feet, yeah, 2 feet more up.
So the overall height of the building will be 2 feet higher than what it is now?
Yes, the one, yes, yeah, higher than what it is right now.
Same roof pitch, same,
We're gonna do a single slope pitch, so it'll be a little bit different. Right now, it's got 4 pitch on there. 4 different, it's a hip roof, so we're gonna do a single slope.
okay.
Okay, so to clarify, the overall height of the structure as you're looking at it now, so I'm gonna go back to the
Yeah,
photo here. That will be 2 feet higher, and that's gonna have a full basement.
correct. It'd be 2 feet higher than the highest peak there now.
Okay, how, can you, it's not a crawl space, it's a full
It's a full
basement?
basement right now, yeah.
And you only need to go, I'm struggling with that, but okay. If that's what you say it'll be.
There's a steep, it was steep there, and that's where here's full.
So,
Yeah,
and then a mono slope
right,
roof?
yeah.
Does that answer your questions?
I guess I'm going for a total height on, I don't know if there's
So
a house
do you-
plan yet, but
Do you know ground to
I'm-
peak what it is now?
Well, from that ground right there, you're looking at about 14 feet.
So it'd be 16.
And what we can, I mean, you can actually go up to what, 25
30.
or 30? Yeah, well, I'm not doing that.
So
but
about,
with all the
look-
changes that are taking place, can they change the roof line that much and block the view of 2 residences across the street?
Well, when you're, so it depends on what you're extending. So this is a new build. He's not asking to go over the 30-foot height. And so he would have that right to do that unless the Board of Adjustment conditions it that it remain, a single-story height. And the other thing I'll add too is it was never proposed to be more than 1 story.
Correct.
I think if it changed like that, we would be definitely consulting the county engineer for site distance, because I think a 2-story, 30-foot tall home, a couple feet from the road right-of-way may have some impact to that too.
Mr. Chair.
Clint,
So Amy, I don't know if you're thinking right or whatever. So this house,
Probably not thinking.
it has a full basement right now, okay?
Yes.
So what you see about 6 inches, maybe a foot of white, okay, so that's basement. So you would basically see 2.2 feet more of that, okay? So it's gonna go up 2.5 feet, and I'm gonna say 4 feet or less on roof. So you're looking at 6 to 7 feet higher than what this is right now, if you can picture that. That's how I understand it. Tell me if I'm wrong.
No, yeah, you're right.
so quickly, short answer to your question, he could build up to 30 feet. He's not doing that.
Yeah, I
He's building to
understand that.
16, and
But even at 6 to 7 feet, it's going to severely impede lake view of people across the street. And
Mr.
I know there's a lot, there's a lot of regulations concerning anything that's built on Chaminade.
Amy,
Mr. Chair, I think that would be, I think we've heard the comment and the concern. I believe that, that is something you may want to consider then when you consider the question about the neighborhood, the locality, and whether or not, either that or, putting a condition on and/or holding him to what he submitted rather than in the field changes to go 30 feet.
thank you.
I'm not concerned that he's going to go 30 feet. Even a 7-foot change would, and if I lose a lake view lot, now I've lost property value.
I'm not seeing 7 feet. Are you, I'm getting 2.2 feet up, and then we're going to a mono pitch roof, which I don't, is it a 6 pitch, or is it an 8? What is it?
It'll actually probably be a 4, which that's what this is right now.
So you're going up 2 feet, not 7. I'm not sure where 7 is.
Somebody mentioned it wouldn't
Okay.
be any more than 6 and 7. There's also going to be a height
Wow.
difference if he goes with trusses versus, I'm sure that has joists, so you probably get another foot there. So
Okay,
those are my concerns.
thank you. Can you pull up figure 1C from the lake? Can you see that at all? Are you to the left?
My parents are directly across my driveway.
Okay,
So is that their house right there?
Edge of my lot is across the street from the south edge.
okay. Thank you, sir. Okay, and thank you, Matt, for helping out with the mic there. Public comment, any public comment where you'll continue to ask? This is time number 2.
If I'm allowed to, I think you can see my parents'
Have them come up to the,
Yep, just go up to the mic and say it. Yep. Thank you.
Mr. Chair.
Miss Amy?
So essentially, the garage is gonna go right in front of there.
Yep,
And is that proposed to be the same height as the house?
yeah,
Okay.
correct. Yep.
Thank you. Any public comment? That's number 2. Any public comment for the third time and final? We will close this section of the meeting to the public and move on to the finding of fact criteria questions.
Mr. Chair,
Clint?
I got one question. So this, in our packet, here's the picture of it, shows the roof style.
Yeah,
Okay, so basically, instead of the rafter coming together, it's gonna be like monoslope.
yeah,
So then if it's 412, the total height would only be 2 foot 6 inches higher, or whatever you raise the basement. The
Correct.
roof line's gonna be the same,
higher than original,
yes?
yes.
Okay.
All right, thank you. So moving ahead, it sounds like when we're going through these questions, there's 3 conditions. No further to the road, removal of the asphalt and the concrete, and then stormwater plan, all of that work is done with the shoreland specialists with the county.
Yep.
Okay,
Mis-
good there?
Mr. Chair,
Brent?
question for Amy, reference to conditioning this further with it being just a single-story home on top of a basement. Do we need to do that now, or will that be addressed in a future application, or should we condition it now that it just be a single story so that the plans don't come in with a 30-foot home?
Mr. Chair, I would condition it now.
Okay.
So basement with 1 floor.
Yeah, and I'm just struggling with how to, without limiting exactly what you're gonna do there. Your intent is to build 1 story on top of a basement, but meeting the requirement to raise it 2 feet. I don't know exactly what that height would be. I'd like to put a height on it to say that the height would not exceed so many feet.
So Brent, that height, talking with Darren on Friday, they do you take a measurement from down where the basement is now floor, and then you gotta do grade and come into that. So the 30-foot being it's a walkout,
Where you're gonna have 20-some feet on one side on the walkout
Yep.
side, but you're only gonna have
yep,
so many feet on the roadside. But I think a condition that would state that this would be approved for, if we were to approve it, I would recommend a condition that it be for no more than a single story above a basement with a mono roof line and not to exceed, and I'm struggling with the foot level there because depending on the construction of a home,
And the grading work that's done. you know,
Right.
Yeah.
or could we condition that the single-story home with a mono roof to be approved by land services so that we know that height that we don't go above, or do we need to actually set a height limit? Because I don't want to restrict, you know,
Right.
all of a sudden you get your 2 foot above to meet that, you put your basement, and then you start your structure, but now you have to go to not a 412, but a 312, and,
Right.
you know, I mean, a 412 is pretty reasonable
Yeah.
in today's world.
Well, and it's more structure. I mean, it's gonna span more of the width of because we're not just doing a home, we're doing that garage also. So, and that'll all be the same, height, so I think, we could take a measurement of the existing house as far as ground to peak, what that is, and condition it that it can't be any more than 3 feet taller or something like that, than what it is now. So then if you're worried about the net change, I guess that would maybe be a way to do it, but.
The application is what we have in front of us. If there wasn't heights put into the application and that was something that is normally done, that's fine. The county rule is 30 feet at this point. I'm not saying anything other than it's his property, he owns it. This is what his application says is. With these conditions, I get what you're saying and I understand it, but if you're open to the good neighbor thing, that's probably a way to consider it, but if you want to get into the measurements and stuff, nothing else is happening tonight at this place.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
Question to the applicant. Do you know what your height is going to be? Can you give me a number of what that height would be?
Like I said, let's see here, so. I mean, like I said, I'm guessing right now that we're at like 14. That's what I'm guessing, from the ground, on the roadside. I said, now we're gonna go 2 with the floor, or with the foundation. So I said, another 4 or 5 feet. I mean, so 2 plus maybe 2. I mean, so 18, 19. I mean, I don't plan on building this big monster thing here and just.
Well, in the
And I know I have like you said, I have the right to within the limits. I mean, I'm not intentionally trying to block his view.
Yeah.
I mean, prior to me having this, I mean, in where we drive in there, I mean, there was trees, shrubs. I mean, I don't know what kind of view he had to begin with, because I've had this for 14 years. And I mean, there was lilac bushes that were 10 feet tall that my guess they couldn't see through. My wife didn't want me to get rid of them because then they could look through and like see us on our patio, because on that concrete boathouse.
Yep.
Well, I took them out because I was tired of them. I was just tired of them. So,
Mr.
there's
Chair?
been stuff there.
Yeah.
So I would make one further condition, condition number 4, if you will, that this be limited to a single story, not to exceed a total height of 20 feet. I think that helps me answer question number 3, will this issuance maintain the essential character of the locality? Because as you look along that whole shoreline there, most all of those structures that are along there are single story.
Yeah.
But I want to make sure that you're able to build, but not be out of the character of the neighborhood,
Yeah.
which will help me answer this question in the affirmative.
Understand?
You okay with that?
Yeah, understand.
Can you read those conditions, Amy? Thank you.
All right. First one would be that the property owner submit a stormwater management plan that is reviewed and approved by the land services, and of course, implement and maintain that. Reduce the impervious surface down to 25%, including removal of the asphalt located in the front and the back of the existing home. No further encroachment on the road right-of-way, and that a single-story dwelling shall be constructed not to exceed a total height of 20 feet.
Yep,
Good?
Yep.
Perfect.
Just to clarify, Mr. Chair? Yeah, so on the asphalt is on the roadside, and there is concrete on the roadside and concrete on the lakeside that you
Yeah.
talked about
yeah,
removing.
and by
So
the deck
both.
there. Yep,
Yeah,
both.
so the
All of it.
asphalt would be on the roadside, the concrete would be on both sides.
Yep,
Yep.
got it.
Just for Amy's benefit, because she wasn't there on Friday when we viewed it, so, but I think she understands it.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any questions? Question 1, is the request in harmony with the general purposes and intent of the Morrison County Land Use Ordinance and Comprehensive Plan? Brent?
I think it is. You know, he's proposing, he has a right to replace what he has. He's come before us to ask for a variance because there are unique conditions or situations with Lake Chaminade. Trying to meet those and raise are all kind of unique to this, but it is in harmony with the general purposes and the intent of the Morrison County Land Use Ordinance.
Thank you, Brent. Anybody else?
Yeah, I'd like to, would add is, he was willing to drop down the impervious surface area to 25%. He's willing to do a stormwater plan to help mitigate changes here, and then bring it in compliance with floodplain. So it is in harmony that way.
Thank you, Marv. And agreeing to take the county ordinance even another 10 feet further helps that too. Okay, question 2. Is the applicant proposing to use the property in a reasonable manner not permitted by the land use ordinance? Clint?
Yes, so when you look at this, we talked already that this is kind of a unique property where, his building envelope, more than well meets the standards of reaching high water mark. And actually, he's building farther away from the lake. But yes, it's closer to the road right away, and then it's to the property line. But with this unique parcel, I think it's the most reasonable spot to allocate this kind of structure. He's building a house or a structure that's about 4% of the total square footage of the lot. And then his willingness to do some things that was talked about, lowering impervious surface, willing to work on the overall height of the structure to help out with that. I think it is very reasonable. He's looking at using the property real reasonable.
Thank you, Clint. Anybody else? Question 3, will the issuance of the variance maintain the essential character of the locality? As you, we did discuss this one already, but we put the condition on there from the height perspective to affect the character of the locality. But as you go up and down that entire road, the distance to the road from some of those cabins on both sides of the road, in addition to all the way around that entire shoreline on the west side of the lake is, it all blends in pretty much the same, give or take a few size and cabins difference, but, and the size of this one being proposed isn't gonna stand out any further than, the rest of it, or the rest of them there. Okay, anybody else? Question 4, is the alleged practical difficulty due to circumstances unique to the property? Marv?
Yes, it is, and as we heard over and over how the fluctuation of the lake levels in Chaminade have created that practical difficulty being one of the practical difficulties, flooding the basement, bringing this home within floodplain ratings. Also, having 2 variances before, road right-of-way and neighboring properties being a little over 2 feet away from them, and willingness to use them variances from the past and stay right with them.
Thank you, Marv. Anybody else? Question 5, is the need for the variance created by actions other than the landowner or prior landowners? Brent?
Well, the need for variance is created because you can't do anything with this property without a variance. It's a non-conforming structure that was placed there many years ago through the actions of many different people. But regardless of that, the other actions other than the landowners is the overhead high water mark, the flooding of this lake over the years, the basement flooding, trying to meet the current building code requires this 2-foot lift. And then rather than trying to reconstruct an existing structure, building new seems to make some sense to me.
Thank you, Brent. Question 6, does the alleged practical difficulty involve more than just economic considerations? Clint?
Yes, and I'll refer to just what Brent stated for the last question. A lot of what he said can kind of go along with this question also. I'd like to add that, what the flood stage, flood elevation of the lake, trying to work through that, have the structure in there. It's definitely not going to be a cheap route. Just trying to make it better, something that's going to be there for the long haul. Without getting over extravagant. So yes, I would think there is a lot more in this practical difficulty other than just economics.
Thank you, Clint. Okay, hearing no further comment, yes or no's on the questions here as we go through. And with the 4 conditions that were read before we started all of this and affirmed, agreed to by the applicant, discussed with the board, and documented. Question 1, is the request in harmony with the general purposes and intent of the Morrison County Land Use Ordinance and Comprehensive Plan? Brent?
Yes.
Clint?
Yes, with the conditions.
John is yes. Marv?
Yes, with the conditions.
Question 2, is the applicant proposing to use the property in a reasonable manner not permitted by land use ordinance? Clint?
Yes, with the conditions.
John is yes. Marv?
Yes.
Brent?
Yes.
Will the issuance of the variance maintain the essential character of the locality? John is yes. Marv?
Yes, with them conditions.
Brent?
Yes.
Clint?
Yes, with the conditions.
Question 4, is the alleged practical difficulty due to circumstances unique to the property? Marv?
Yes.
Brent?
Yes.
Clint?
Yes.
John is yes. Question 5, is the need for the variance created by actions other than the landowner or prior landowners? Brent?
Yes.
Clint?
Yes.
John is yes. Marv?
Yes.
Question 6, does the alleged practical difficulty involve more than just economic considerations? Clint?
Yes.
John is yes. Marv?
Yes.
Brent?
Yes.
All 6 of the questions were answered in the affirmative. Do I have a motion to approve the variance as requested?
Mr. Chair, I'd make a motion to approve it with the conditions. 4, I believe.
Okay?
I'll second that.
Motion made by Brent and seconded by Clint to approve the requested variance. All in favor, say aye. Brent?
Aye.
Marv?
Aye.
Clint?
Aye.
Aye, John is aye. Your variance requested is approved. Please work with the Morrison County Land Services to keep the project going.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Are we on to minutes or old new business?
Minutes.
Minutes. Any
Mr.
questions?
Chair, I read the minutes, and I
Did
make
get those?
Yes.
Okay.
recommend that we approve them.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Minutes approved. Anything else, Miss Amy, for our consideration? Thoughts?
New business, it's kind of a dual planning commission and board of adjustment. But I did have a discussion with the county board this morning at their planning session regarding the after-the-fact work or the variances that we're seeing in regards to in shoreland, the work that's being done without permitting. We're having a particular issue with contractors that are doing work, and we have kind of that repeat pattern going on. So I did have a good discussion with the county board, and they are very supportive of pursuing an ordinance amendment that would require licensure of contractors to work in shoreland. And so it'd be particularly for excavators and landscapers that they would need to license with us. And in order to be licensed, they would need to attend training and put up a bond. And so I will be moving forward with putting together language for that. The reason why I spoke with them so early is we're essentially standing up a licensing program. It's going to take a little while. So you'll hear more about that, but that was some discussion we had today because it's getting to be really problematic and a lot of time and energy and resources.
So that would include the sewers in the excavating part?
Not necessarily. I mean, sewer or septic systems are kind of a subset, but what we're finding is that most people that, hey, I have a backhoe, so I'll do all sorts of things for you. So maybe what started out as septic installation now morphs into all sorts of other things. And so the biggest issues we're having is with grade and fill, excavation, and then landscaping. The first request that we had was a prime example of that and what we're seeing. So anyway, there'll be more to come on that, but just stay tuned, I guess. But otherwise, Mr. Chair, I think that's all I have.
Okay.
Talk about our training or after we adjourn?
Say it again?
Talk about our training
yeah.
or after we adjourn?
Yeah, we can go ahead and adjourn, and then whoever needs to go can go. And
Do I have a motion to adjourn this meeting?
I would make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Meeting adjourned at 8:02 p.m.